Am I the asshole for throwing my wife's pillow out of the room? Last night when getting ready for bed I tried taking a picture of how my wife was laying in the bed to show her how little space I had. She made a joke of it and hid under the blankets. We have a king-size bed, have a toddler that sleeps between us, and my wife keeps a pillow between her and the toddler. I was trying to show my wife that her and her pillow already took up over half of the bed, leaving me with little to no space, especially once her toddler laid down. I tried telling her I needed more room but she kept making a joke of it. So I got in bed, grabbed the pillow she keeps at her back and tossed it into the hallway saying here this will help. The next thing I know my wife is furious, crying, and is gathering her other pillows and blankets saying, if I'm that much of a problem you can just have the bed to yourself. Her and our toddler went to the toddler's room to sleep. That bed is a fool. This morning my wife is still mad and barely speaking to me so I ask am I the asshole for throwing my wife's pillow out of the room? Too long did not read. Wife takes up over half the bed with pillow wall between us. I tossed the divider pillow out of the room to allow myself more space. Info. Put the toddler in their own bed? Problem solved. Co-sleeping is usually done by year 1. The kid is a toddler, he should sleep in his own bed. Edit. Not the asshole, your wife is the issue here. When you try to communicate with her about having more space, she brushes you off and then makes jokes about it. So she clearly wasn't listened to you at all. She was hogging the bed and basically making you either sleep in another room or have you no room. Her reaction to a pillow being thrown is an overreaction. Take back the bed, the kid should be sleeping in his own bed anyways. If she isn't willing to sleep without him then she can sleep in the other bed in the kid's room but you should take the main bed back. In short I think she is being horribly inconsiderate and jerk. Stop letting the toddler in the bed. Problem solved. The sleeping situation is just a symptom. You've got bigger problems in your marriage. I saw your comment where she told you, that's not your decision to make. Time to demand marriage counseling. Everyone sucks here. You need to actually communicate and resolve issues. Throwing a pillow out of the room isn't a grown-up resolution. It's strange that she was making jokes about it and laughing and the second you actually moved the pillow she burst into tears. Did you raise your voice or lose your temper? If you did just apologize for that, but explain things really need to change. The most obvious is that the toddler should be in his own bed. How is anyone saying ESH? He's getting a sliver of the bed to sleep on because his wife thinks it's funny to have herself, a pillow, and toddler on the bed. She's a selfish brat but he's somehow also the AH? At least he threw the pillow and not the toddler or the wife. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for kicking out my mom's boyfriend? When I was 17 my mom came into money. She tried to keep it quiet but she paid off my dad's debts, bought him a small house, paid off her debts and paid for my sister's college and set up funds for mine. She had a boyfriend at the time and shortly after him and his son who was 7 moved into our new house. Over the next few years mom bought my sister a house after she graduated college. Her boyfriend lived with us and didn't pay anything but he did work. When I was 21 mom got diagnosed with cancer. It wasn't good. She sat me and my sister down and went over exactly how much money there was. She intended to give her current house to me and both me and my sister were left with a large sum at the end of it. She asked if I would allow her boyfriend to stay in the house with his son until he got his own place. I agreed. Before she died she told her boyfriend he would need to look for his own place but had time to save more for that journey. For the last 4 years he has continued to reside in the house with his son. I haven't minded because we get along okay. I pay all the bills but he does buy food for him and his kid. He has dated off and on and mostly kept the women out of this house which I respected him for. Until his current partner. She's been in my house 3 times and at first besides feeling a little uncomfortable I was okay with her. The last time this past weekend was the point where I lost my shit. I was making myself some lunch when she came walking downstairs. She grabbed a plate and went to grab food out of my pan. I asked her what she thought was doing. She started telling me how I should look for somewhere else to live and leeching off my dead mom's past relationship as an adult was pathetic. I hollered for my mom's old boyfriend. He came down and I told him I didn't know what he current thing thought but I wasn't going to be disrespected in my house. He wouldn't even look me in the eyes as he mumbled something about my mom promising him the house and he was just being kind, letting me stay. First, that isn't remotely true. Mom pulled him and I together after she asked if he could stay to set expectations. My mom met him shortly before she won the money and told him and us girls that she had no intention of leaving him money. She did set aside a fund for his son for college when he gets there but he cannot touch it, only his son can. He has lived in this house almost 8 years without paying a dime. He should have plenty of money and if he doesn't that's on him. I told him he had 30 days to leave. I wasn't going to house someone who would lie and disrespect me in my house. He left that night with his son but his ex-wife called to tell me I am cruel and an asshole for her son losing his house. He is here every other week. I really feel like my mom didn't expect him to still be here, but my sister said she feels like I am breaking my promise to my mom, and that made me feel like maybe I am the not the asshole. The critical part here is that your mom asked you to let him stay until he got his own place and to give him time to find one. In that time, instead of looking to move somewhere else, he continued to settle into life in the house, to the point where he even started bringing a new girlfriend along. He moved on but didn't move out. Him lying to her and telling her this was his house tells you everything you need to know about his actual intentions to leave. You kicking him out wasn't abrupt. The clock had run out on your mother's kindness and your obligation to her a long time ago, and he was living there on generously borrowed time. If it happened exactly how you said, you're not the asshole. If she did say he had time to save, but would need to look for his own place, that means she never imagined or wanted him staying for long. So you're breaking no promises. Did she leave him any money or assets? It's totally possible that your mother would be livid if she knew her boyfriend was still living with her son after 4 years. Not the asshole. Your mom asked you to let the boyfriend live there until he could find a place of his own. She was most likely considering that it would take a few months at most, not 4 years. You do not need to feel guilty about the son either. A place he goes every other weekend is not home. And he has grieved and is clearly planning on moving on. He told this woman it was his house. And she insulted you. He needs to stop leeching off of your mother and your inheritance. He can get his own life together and get his own place to live now, as per the agreement he made with your mother. Not the asshole. You have been more than kind. Not the asshole. 1. Your mom asked you to let him stay to let him save for his own place. He didn't. 2. Dumbass lied to his girl, caught in the lie and tried to save face. Your mom chose who she GSVE'd to and he didn't get the house. You did. He can kick rocks. 3. The son didn't lose his home. His dad lost his by being a blood tool. His issue, not yours. Not the asshole. He clearly had no intention of respecting your mom's wishes to stay long enough to save for his own place and move out. You're respecting the spirit of your mom's wishes by giving him time and then kicking him out when it became clear he wasn't honoring the agreement. Am I the asshole for telling my cousin that his emotional needs aren't my problem and to get a job? My 23M cousin, 30M, and his girlfriend, 32F, recently had to move out of their place after his girlfriend lost her job. My cousin has been unemployed for quite some time due to his mental health, which is a sore subject for him. This will be relevant later. His girlfriend has been job searching, but it's a long process and they need somewhere to stay in the meantime, so they've been staying with me and my roommate, 22M. I didn't love this arrangement in the first place since we have a 2-bedroom apartment and I've needed to move into my roommate's room to make space, but it's family and my roommate says he doesn't mind having me in his room for now. Plus my aunt is paying us, so whatever. The problem is that my cousin and his girlfriend have insisted on bringing their emotional support dog with them, not a service dog. It's technically fine in terms of our lease and I don't mind dogs in general, so at first I said okay, but this thing has been a nightmare. It's loud, pees on our floors, and it chewed up one of our couch pillows. My cousin and his girlfriend think this behavior is hysterical and endearing, but every time my roommate and I tried to bring up that we'd rather they find somewhere else for their dog, they go on and on about how they can't possibly part with their fur baby, and just will not hear it. This all kind of culminated last night because my roommate had an important presentation this morning, so he tried to go to bed early last night, but the dog would not stop barking. My cousin and his girlfriend were all like, she wants to play, but my roommate and I were pretty annoyed. I told my cousin that this arrangement was not working and that he needed to find somewhere else to put the dog. He told me again that it's their fur baby, and his girlfriend started getting really upset and telling me we were making the dog feel unwelcome and it was like asking them to part with their child. I told them that the dog is not a baby and that they need to take responsibility for it or find somewhere else for the 3 of them to stay. He reminded me that he needs the dog for emotional support and that his girlfriend is trying to find a job and they have nowhere to go until then. Partially out of anger, I told him that his emotional support needs weren't my problem and that maybe he should try getting a job too. I know he's had a rough time with his mental health and how that impacts employment, so I think those 2 statements put together cut a little deeper than I intended, and he hasn't been talking to me today and his girlfriend called me an ableist for what I said. My aunt texted me this morning that my cousin and his girlfriend plan on moving out this weekend with their dog and that I was way too harsh with him. I do understand why the comment had that effect on them and I feel bad for that, but it finally got the dog out of our place after we've been trying the gentler approach, so I don't really know what else I could have done. Am I the asshole? He reminded me that his girlfriend is trying to find a job and they have nowhere to go until then. My aunt texted me this morning that my cousin and his girlfriend plan on moving out this weekend with their dog and that I was way too harsh with him. Oh, so they did have somewhere to go after all. Phew. Was what Op said on the harsh side? Yes. Was it justified, in dealing with inconsiderate manipulative freeloaders? Emo, yes, and not the asshole. Not the asshole. Isn't it so cute and funny how our untrained dog keeps destroying your home? No, it's not. They're setting that dog up for failure because they're too lazy to properly train it. I love dogs, but they would have been out in a week if it was my home. And no, you're not ableist for what you said. It sounds like your cousin uses his mental illness as a shield from responsibility. Not the asshole. If a human baby was peeing on the floor, I'd have same sentiment. Screw everything else. Having a creature just urinate in the home is inexcusable. If you need the dog for support, they care for it. Take it on walks, give it attention. That they laugh when they think their dog is barking for attention is sad. Why isn't dog getting attention? They are being cruel to that animal. Not the asshole. I am so sick and tired of people using their mental health as an excuse to be shitty, lazy, entitled human beings. Kick them out. He's 32 years sponging off family. He and his girlfriend are not your responsibility, and frankly your roommate is being far more generous than they deserve. Kick them out now. Not the asshole. Oh geez. These people are the reason most landlords won't accept dogs. The dog is peeing everywhere and chewing things up because they are not active good owners. It is not cute. Destroy things. They should not have an animal if they cannot give it active time and proper training. This is not an emotional support dog. This is just a dog they don't want to give up. Am I the asshole for being greedy and rude while planning my wedding? I, 28F, and my fiancé, 36M, are planning our wedding, and last night he accused me of being greedy and rude. Background. I come from a wealthy family and have worked hard to manage finances responsibly. My father has given each daughter $120,000 for their wedding. My sisters used all of it for their weddings, but I asked to use $70,000 for the wedding and $10,000 for a honeymoon, saving $40,000 to help with future children's expenses. My dad agreed to this plan, but only if I could make the wedding work with that budget. I didn't make this decision lightly. When I first got engaged 5 months ago, I considered using the full amount for a European wedding, but I realized I didn't want to prioritize that. A wedding is one day, and securing our future financial stability seemed more important. My fiancé has been patient but has accused me of delaying the wedding due to indecisiveness, though I'm just overwhelmed by spending so much on one day and managing everything else. Last night, I asked him to help review venues for a tour we're doing Monday. He rushed through options, and I started to cry from stress. I also wanted to vet the venue's prices before booking, but this frustrated him. He said I was rude for not wanting to use all the money for a wedding he would love, claiming that going over budget was fine because this was our most important day. He has always dreamed of a grand wedding with lots of guests. He criticized the venue I liked, an old library that only seats 180 and fits our budget. He said I was being rude by limiting my guest list to 60 people so he could invite 120 of his family. He also accused me of being greedy for wanting to save the leftover money and said I looked like I was hoarding it. He argued that since we are financially well off, I shouldn't worry about saving for future children. He also mentioned that our wedding planner had supposedly said I was being greedy, though he later admitted to making that up to show me how rude I was being. I thought I was being fiscally responsible by saving the extra money, but now I'm questioning if I've made the right decision. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. And do not marry this man until after the two of you have gone through some serious pre-nuptial counseling. The number one reason that people divorce is over money issues. And you two are not even on the same continent, let alone the same page. This is important op. Do it. You, and your future children, deserve it. Not the asshole. My father has given each daughter $120,000 for their wedding. Love how your fiancé seems to think this money is his. Is this real? A brand new account with an obviously selfish partner who is obviously projecting. That partner is complaining that 5 months is taking too long to plan a wedding, when the lavish wedding with hundreds of guests that he wants would take at least 2 years to plan. If this is real, it's an easy not the asshole, and I'd add like everyone else is saying, this is clearly a mismatch of values, and it's not going to get better after the wedding. If you don't run, make sure you have an ironclad prenup. He argued that since we are financially well off, I shouldn't worry about saving for future children. Is someone with this kind of judgment the kind of person you want to be married to? He also mentioned that our wedding planner had supposedly said I was being greedy, though he later admitted to making that up to show me how rude I was being. Again, is this someone you want to be married to? Why are you marrying this man who clearly sees you as an ATM? Not the asshole. Where is his $70K? Why is your family funding his dream wedding alone? $70K on a wedding is, well, a lot. That's what I make in 2 years.